Good evening and welcome. We're absolutely delighted that you're all here tonight because we are excited about kicking off some reality check for Westport 250. This has been kind of a wonderful thought, fantasy for this great team that's come together. And our goal has been to engage our full community in as many ways as we can to celebrate the nation's 250th birthday. And I think it's starting to happen. We're looking for continued activities in town. We're looking for new activities in town. We're looking for the town to really look at the 250th. I'm Maureen Buck, and I have a wonderful group of people who have just come together naturally. We're very organic. We're going to start with Tim Wayland, who has something he's going to tell you about the sound, right, Tim? Tim, you want to, Tom, I said Tim. Yeah, okay, here we go. Yeah, Tom, do you want to tell people about the sound, or we're all set? You're going to record sound. Okay. Tom Whalen is a filmmaker, documentarian, and an absolutely nice person who has joined a group of people that weren't quite up to speed with what he knows, and we're all learning every day. So he'll be talking about the website and some of the other things that we need to do. Jane Dufault is our route to Westport. She has been here almost forever, yeah. And so when I, as a newcomer, get up, I feel very secure. Lou Barrel is in the back, and she is relatively new, but really has deep roots because her family's been in this town for a long time, and she's here as much to get to know the town as to help us communicate what we're trying to about the history of our town. And Jeff Fitton, I think he knows everyone in town also. But he has been a great help to us in so many ways because his experience as a parent, as somebody who's really been involved in so many parts of community living is helps guide us and make choices because we have really tried to reach as many individuals, as many organizations to hear from all of you as possible. And we've finally decided we can't reach everyone. So tonight, those that are here, we're going to value your ideas twice as much. And we are being videotaped, and hopefully we'll get more attention and more information. This is an information gathering night. One of our members wasn't able to be here tonight, and she's been doing a lot of writing for us, Lorna Mills. So we'll all be working together over the next couple of months, maybe, if the holidays don't get in the way, and trying to get ready for 2026. We're going to start off today with a big picture. We're going to ask Jonathan Lang, who has actually talked to us a few times before. Jonathan has 30 years of experience in public history, tourism, and cultural programming. Wow, that's impressive. And he has been the executive director of State's Revolution 250. He can tell you about what's happening in 33 cities and towns that are actively involved, and a lot more that are doing like us, getting engaged. Jonathan, why don't you come on up? You can talk here at the microphone.
Thanks very much.
And tell the world.
Thank you. 50 years ago, I was at Concord Bridge when President Ford spoke to the nation and the world about the importance of the events, what happened in Massachusetts, and it inspired me at that moment for a lifelong passion of low-paying jobs. So I'm delighted to be here in Westport to help you talk about your own 250th commemoration. You know, I was asked to sort of give the big picture, and I'm happy to take the conversation in any direction you choose. I'll tell you a little bit about my own journey here and where Massachusetts has gone, and a little bit about the national story and the regional story. It's, you know, there are so many different ways, I'm sure you'll figure this out, but there are so many different ways to tell the story. And we encourage people to find what works for their community. It could be through the lives and experiences of the Minutemen or militia who go marching off to war. It could be the experiences of the maritime community who did so much to uplift and secure independence for the nation. It could be through the lives of the women and children who not only had to keep the family farms going, but really had to produce even more because they had to support an army in the field. It could be about the events that happened not in your town necessarily, but nearby. So let's talk about the raid on New Bedford or the Battle of Rhode Island on Aquidneck Island. I mean, I do come at this honestly. It has been a lifelong passion of mine, public history and bringing history to life for people, recognizing the value of this to our tourism community, of course, and to the many businesses who support these kinds of programs. My father's family has been here for 400 years. For the last 300 years, we've lived in the Norton, Foxborough area. Although I was raised in Rockland for reasons that I still don't understand. I should warn you, I do have a fairly irreverent sense of humor, so I don't mean to offend anybody. If you're from Rockland secretly and you don't want to tell me, that's okay. My mother's family had a very different journey. Obviously, they came to Fall River and Westport from Ireland, and I spent a lot of time personally in Westport. My aunt still lives here. As I was saying, I've probably had more 4th of July gatherings in Westport than any other place in Massachusetts. And for this history, it really reminds me about the importance of the story we're looking to tell. To be sure, there are flawed men and women in the story. There are experiences of which we need not necessarily be proud. But at the end of the day, these are people who risked everything just for the hope of something better. And that's really what I try and convey through all the projects we worked on. Revolution 250 is a consortium of organizations. We're a private 501c3. We have 75 partners that we're working with across the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and beyond. Working on the 250th. We got our start in 2015. Our first event, I wasn't there for the first event. I hadn't been hired yet, but they did an event to commemorate the 250th anniversary of essentially the baptism of the Liberty Tree and the formation of the Sons of Liberty in Boston. And everybody, including the Boston Globe, thought that was a great event. But the people who organized it said, well, we've already got jobs. We should get somebody else to do this. And I was hired the next year. It's been a remarkable story. From the outset, our plan has been to follow the words of John Adams. And John Adams will be very pleased we're doing this because nobody loves John Adams like John Adams. He said that the real revolution happened before a drop of blood got spilled at Lexington and Concord. It was the changes in the hearts and the minds of the people of Massachusetts. And so, and later on, he said, if you want to know the history of the Revolution in Massachusetts, don't read histories of the Revolution, particularly Mercy Otis Warren's history of the Revolution. She didn't mention John Adams hardly at all. But he said, if you really want to know the history of the Revolution, look at the town meeting records. Look at the committees of correspondence records. And many of these are available. And he's so right. The wisdom that can be found in those communities. One of my favorites, in a town meeting, we're doing a big thing with the Massachusetts Moderators Association in a couple of weeks, looking at town meeting and its role in pushing the revolution forward. And town meeting is such an important institution for communities to come together to discuss these ideas. But in January of 1773, town meeting in Newton passed a series of resolves against the Tea Act, essentially. And they said, resolved, that in the cause of liberty, no good man can stay silent or inactive. And I think that really strikes at the heart of what these people were feeling. And if you read the town meeting records from this time period, just filled with all kinds of wonderful activity, and you really get a sense of what it took to keep a community moving forward. And sort of tied into that, in March of 1776, the General Court publishes an advertisement in the local newspaper saying, we want every town in Massachusetts to discuss independence and whether they would support it with their lives and their liberty and their fortunes. And not every town got the message. Either they didn't take that newspaper or we're not exactly sure what. But we have about 50% of the town's responses at this point. And overwhelmingly, I think it's 125 to 2. And the 2, they didn't say no. They just said, they said, we're not going to instruct our representatives. This is back in the day when you elected a state representative. You could tell them what to do, and they would do it because they only serve for a year at a time. So because they're elected at every town meeting. So they would instruct their representatives to support independence or not. And the only 2 towns that did not instruct their representative absolutely definitively came out and said, we're not instructing our representative. Are Barnstable, and the story there is a little complicated. And it's, I knew I was going to forget this one. I want to say Lancaster, Massachusetts. And Lancaster and Hubbardton and all that those sort of northern western Worcester County towns, they've got more than their fair share of loyalists out there. I'm just going to say it. That doesn't make them bad people. It's just the way it was. So that was our guiding light when we set out. And obviously we want to tell the big stories. We want to tell the Tea Party and the massacre and Lexington and Concord and Bunker Hill. We wanted to do all of those things, but to do it differently, right? It's not always about the big reenactment, right? That's not something for everybody. We need to approach it a different way. So the Tea Party ships, we spent a lot of time talking about Phyllis Wheatley and her book of poetry that arrived on the same ships. The first streetlights for Boston arrived on the tea ships. So we were looking at different ways to approach these stories, to engage. Lexington and Concord, the Battle of Menotomy, which I'm sure you all know, is, of course, the part of April 19th. The Redcoats come marching back through what is today Arlington. And that's where most of the men died, in Arlington, both Redcoats and patriots, or provincial militia, if you prefer. And the fighting was particularly fierce. And, one of the weirder experiences of my life, this past July, we had Kurt Russell, a descendant of Jason Russell, who was murdered essentially on his own doorstep. I mean, defending a man's home is his castle. And Kurt Russell was incredibly moved by that experience. He didn't know anything about it growing up. His sons were the ones who discovered the connection, but he wanted to come see it for himself. And that's the power of this story, right? It isn't always sometimes you have a story like that, but sometimes it's about the 7 men from Danvers who marched from Danvers to Arlington on April 19th. 7 of them killed, and they had to be brought back in a wagon. And just what a horrific moment that must have been for those Danvers families. And they mark it every year in Danvers. They go around from grave to grave to grave and honor the service and sacrifice of those men. It's about children. Again, another favorite story from Arlington. British Redcoats burst into a house. They order a woman who's just given birth out of the house with her baby. Not knowing there were 4 other children still in the house, they set the house on fire. And the children banded together, used the family's vat of newly brewed beer to put out the fire and save the house. And, I said to a local brewer up in Arlington, I said, if you don't create a beer that's called Fire Quencher, I don't know what you're doing. Anyway, so we've looked for different ways. Some towns, there isn't a mode of commemoration that I don't think I've been part of. Obviously, grave markings are big with the heritage societies, DAR, SAR, and they can be great people to engage with in your community because they have a passion for this history already. The Society of Cincinnati. How many of you know the Society of Cincinnati? 1. Okay, excellent. So I'm a member of the Society of the Cincinnati. We are all descendants of officers who served with George Washington. And why you should know them isn't necessarily because we're descendant of officers of George Washington, but they have an annual grants program. It's not huge money, a couple thousand here, a couple thousand there, but sometimes it just gets you over the top. So they do it, the applications are due once a year. So at the end of August, I tell everybody, make sure your grants are in, because they'll review those and they distribute the money typically in December. You should also not be hidebound by dates. Sometimes, we're working on a big event right now in Gloucester. So again, a weird experience. We couldn't do the Battle of Bunker Hill in Charlestown. I'm talking about the reenactment. The reenactors were very keen to do this. And we can't do it in Charlestown because the largest open space in Charlestown is at the Bunker Hill Monument, which is national park property. They don't allow opposing forces to face each other and shoot at each other, or people pretend dying or whatever on park property, which totally respect. That's their policy. It's the same everywhere, Gettysburg, Antietam, wherever. We ended up doing it in Gloucester. And there was a big NPR piece about why Gloucester. It's awkward when the mayor of Boston comes over to you and says, "What are you doing taking it out of Charlestown?" And, Madam Mayor, I apologize, but the only open space other than Bunker Hill in Charlestown is the Charlestown High School football field. And why I amuse myself thinking about the play-by-play of that particular event. It wasn't the experience the reenactors wanted. It's not really the experience we wanted the public to have. So yes, we moved the battle, whatever it is, 35 miles away. 1,000 reenactors from around the nation, around the world really, because we had a number come from Great Britain and France, and 20,000 people. And we just turned out to see this amazing experience. And again, it wasn't just about the battle reenactment. There were programs there with women talking about the lives of women who followed the armies, or the lives of women at Charlestown who lost everything during the battle because they burned the town of Charlestown. It was about the children who were in the ranks serving as drummer boys. Youngest person on the field at the Battle of Bunker Hill, 12 years old. I mean, that's got to be Dad of the Year, right? It's just horrific to think about these experiences, and yet these things happened, and we want to honor that. Parades, I can't say enough about. I love parades. I can't say enough about parades. There's been obviously lecture series, concerts, people looking at the 18th century through music and dance. So holding a colonial dance. We've had plays. The plays have been particularly popular this commemorative period. There have been plays about the experiences of Norwell and Scituate, plays from the town meetings of Plymouth. There have been plays about the Tea Party, about Phyllis Wheatley meeting Ben Franklin in London. There's a myriad of different ways to look at these issues. And I'm just going to go right out and say none of them are wrong, right? Because you're building a commemoration that's for your town, and you know your town better than anybody else. I am here to say that I hope you will look upon me as a resource. At the back of the table there, I've got a stack of cards. Take one, please. Just help me clear my desk would be great. And stay in touch and let me know the resources you need. Do you need a Paul Revere? I've got a Paul Revere. I've got several Paul Reveres. Weirdly, at one point I had 4 Paul Reveres. I mean, what is happening here? Some ride, some don't ride. Same thing with George Washington. Some Georges ride, other Georges don't ride. You need to keep those separate. It's a very weird job in some ways. But if you want to hear what Abigail Adams' experience was, she's standing on the hill near her house watching Charlestown burn to the ground. Taking care of the family farm while John is off having a good time in the Continental Congress. We know what kind of good time he had there. Viewing parties, this is the latest thing, right? Ken Burns' new series starts up in a couple of weeks. A lot of communal screenings. People getting together so they can sit and watch it together, talk about it. I've seen, a 46-minute preview. It's classic Ken Burns. If you like Ken Burns' work, you're not going to be disappointed in this one. And then sort of looking beyond our borders, so I did say we do some regional things. Obviously, we're thick in the Henry Knox story right now, so we're working a lot with New York at this point, recreating snippets, not the entire length. I will say when I first took this job, I met a guy who did the bicentennial reenactment of the Henry Knox, where they walked the 225 miles from Fort Ticonderoga all the way to Boston. And there's no way OSHA was going to let us do anything like that this year. I just want to say, plus I love the fact that the imagery of the oxen getting to the Massachusetts state lines, and the Massachusetts health officials won't let them in because they don't have the right veterinary certificates. That's classic. I love that. And I'm glad I wasn't there for that. But it's exciting to, this is an event that ties together 50 communities essentially from Crown Point, New York, all the way to South Boston, Massachusetts. So we're doing a series of programs, but we're including all of the communities so they can participate in these stories. Lots of great scholarship has been done since the bicentennial. So we do literally stand on the shoulders of giants, and we have more stories to tell about it's an entirely civilian operation. There's no military involvement in the Knox Trail. Henry Knox himself, they call him Colonel Knox as a courtesy. He actually hasn't been commissioned. He doesn't get his commission until he gets back to Cambridge in January of 1776. We are working with Saratoga 250, not just on the Knox Trail, but looking ahead towards 2027. Revolution 250 doesn't just want to tell the stories of what happens in Massachusetts. Revolution 250 wants to tell the stories of places where Massachusetts people made things happen. So we're talking about General Glover down at Pell Point. We're talking about General Glover at the crossing of the Delaware River. We're talking about General Glover saving Washington's army for the third bloody time when he evacuates them off of Long Island during the Battle of New York. We want to talk about how 40% of the Continental forces at Saratoga are Massachusetts men. 70% of the militia at Saratoga are Massachusetts men. We want to make sure we tell these stories. We want to tell stories of not just the great things they did. Let's talk about, Paul Revere and the crew that went up to Penobscot and tried to reduce the British fort there and got absolutely waxed by the British Army and Navy, so much so that Paul Revere actually got court-martialed for he was exonerated, but still, it was not a good day. Massachusetts lost its entire Navy in that one battle. We had 5 ships, some of them built. Swansea, there were 2 ships built out of Swansea, 1 built out of Bedford, now New Bedford, 1 in Kingston and 1 in Newburyport. And I think, Newburyport, Kingston, Bedford, and 2 in Swansea. So 5 ships, all destroyed in the same day. Not a great day for the Massachusetts sailors. So we're working with, Vermont, Battle of Bennington. We're working with our friends up in New Hampshire on telling the story of John Stark, who, of course, served nobly in Massachusetts. We were working with the people down at Yorktown, looking ahead towards 2031. I mean, I know it's crazy, right? You think you've got a while, we've got time, but there is no time. It's just I never thought we'd make it to the Tea Party, quite frankly, and that was 2 years ago. And then I thought, after the Tea Party, we'll have a little break before Lexington and Concord. Not a chance. For me, and this is what makes this all so exciting, this is a human story. These are the lives of people. I've spent more time in cemeteries in the last 8 years than I ever thought I would, and I love it because I'm just looking around at thousands and thousands of life stories, and how can you not be excited about learning from their experiences? America 250, certainly, and I know we're being recorded here, so I'm going to try and be a little restrained. America 250, from my perspective, has been a disappointment, quite frankly. The very first event I went to as head of Revolution 250, the DAR held an event at their headquarters in Washington, D.C., and their guest speaker was the former Senator, John Warner, who some of you may not know, headed the bicentennial from the national perspective. And again, when the President of the United States comes to you, hands you a checkbook and says, "Don't make me look like an idiot." I mean, that's a powerful, powerful office. Nothing like that this time. Obviously, President Obama formed the Semi-Quincentennial Commission. It's been staffed under Trump and then restaffed under Biden and now restaffed under Trump. But there's been a lot of distractions along the way. And they will put something together. They're hyper-focused on the 4th of July, as many people are. We're finally at the point in the 250th where people have stopped asking me, when is the 250th? And now they're asking me, how much longer for the 250th? Mostly that's my wife. That's just, but it's not just about the 4th of July, right? This is a story, the 4th of July declaring independence, that's at the beginning of the story. Gaining independence, that's the story. And, the people of this region, all over Massachusetts, but let's talk about Westport, the people of Westport, the people of Old Dartmouth, and I'll talk about Old Dartmouth in just a moment. The people of Old Dartmouth, this was years, this was a decade or more of their life, decade and a half of their life, dealing with this. Dealing with the general court sending down, hey, we need 50 more blankets from you. Or, hey, can you get us 25 pairs of shoes? Or, the Army's hungry. Can you protect your cattle from the British raids and send them to the Continental Army instead? And, and we're going to pay you in paper money because that's a good idea. There's all kinds of amazing stories to tell, and I encourage you wholeheartedly to just think about what your town wants. How does your town want to express it? It can be a picnic. It can be America 250 is pushing on July 5th a national potluck supper. That's one of their initiatives. And if that's something you think the community could get behind, absolutely. Quite frankly, if you just serve strawberry shortcake, I'd be happy with that. That's fine for me. Maybe a little bit of Gray's ice cream. I don't know. So I'm going to leave it off there because I literally could go on all night, and I don't want to keep it. Let me just say this. In addition to the cards, there's some Revolution 250 pins. If you want a pin, take a pin. You don't feel compelled. This is not a cult. I'm not trying to persuade anybody, although, we are a nonprofit, so, Also, on the shelves out back, and I should have enough for everybody, I have 2 scarves. I always like pulling these out at wintertime because I get them made in the middle of summer and everybody looks at me like I'm crazy. But we have the original Revolution 250. It's double-sided. This is made by the same company that makes the Premier League scarves for the Premier League teams in Great Britain. And then we have the, also double-sided, we have the major events of Massachusetts scarf here. This should be enough for everybody, but if for any reason you don't get the one you want, let me know. I'll make sure to get it to you. Do you want to ask any questions while we're here?
Could you speak, I'm sorry, Diane Gilbert, who's
Oh, yes, thank you. Old Dartmouth 250.
She is not able to be with us.
Yeah. Yeah, so Diane and I met early on in my tenure at Revolution 250, and the Aikens House, the Dartmouth Heritage Preservation Trust, has been one of our great supporters and partners pretty much since 2017. And about a year ago, we were talking about the Battle of New Bedford. Now, I've done a lot of studying about the Battle of New Bedford. I've written some various papers on the Battle of New Bedford. I think it's a great story. I mean, not for New Bedford, but it is a tremendous story because it involves so many people of note, particularly on the British side. And there are still a few mysteries around the experience, but it really is, again, it's the largest landing force by British Army in New England after the Siege of Boston. They sent 4,000 British soldiers marching on the beaches of Clark's Point in New Bedford. They marched up to the head of the Acushnet River, crossed over the bridge, killed a few Americans, burned everything along the way. And the amount of losses by the people of New Bedford were greater than any community other than Boston and Charlestown during the siege. It's about 180,000 pounds of loss. They burned 81 ships in Bedford Harbor, some of them quite sizable. They were captured by French war. They were prizes of the French, which probably irritated them no end as well. But it's an important moment because most of the American soldiers were over here at Tiverton. They had just evacuated Aquidneck Island from the Battle of Rhode Island, where I had a number of ancestors wounded, amongst other things. So it is a little bit of a personal story for me. So about 2 years ago, Diane and I and some of my other colleagues started talking about telling the story of old Dartmouth, talking about shipbuilding, talking about the agrarian community that supported both armies willingly or unwillingly through their livestock. When they got to Martha's Vineyard right after burning New Bedford, the British captured 10,000 sheep and brought it back. One sheep will feed 50 men. So they were looking to feed thousands of British soldiers, and Martha's Vineyard was where it was at. If you wanted sheep, that's where you went. Not anymore. I think that's changed. But it's incredible. I mean, again, it's an incredible to take a moment to think about how it has changed is really remarkable. So we want to tell all those stories, and David was showing me stuff he's written on Paul Coffey. Paul Coffey looms large in this part of the world, so we want to make sure we tell his story. Revolution 250, and amongst many other programs, we have a weekly podcast. It's every Tuesday at 11 o'clock. You can download it from all your favorite distribution channels. You can go on YouTube, watch the video, or you can download just the audio, whatever your particular bent is. We have almost 300 episodes at this point, and it's heard all around the world. It's downloaded in more than 125 countries and all 56 states and territories. And it speaks to the power of the stories we're telling. We're not just interviewing scholars. We're interviewing public historians. We interview children's authors, novelists, museum people. Anybody who has a story to tell, we're eager to do it. We just recorded one with the New Bedford Whaling Museum, and part of the conversation was around Paul Coffey and Paul Coffey's stories. We want to talk about the raid, William Barton's raid on capturing General Prescott down on Aquidneck Island, which involved people of color, one indigenous person, Daniel Page, and a whole host of essentially southeastern Massachusetts farmers. And there they are out in a whaleboat in the dark of night trying to capture this British general, which they do successfully. So Diane and I got together a group, and we've had 2 meetings so far. If you're interested, let me know. We'll make sure you get on the mail-in list. But we're not just talking about what happens in 1778. We're trying to look at other stories that are of importance to the community. One of the great maps we have from that raid is actually one drawn by John Andre, who is in the column. John Andre, for those of you who may not know him, was hanged for spying by George Washington. So, any questions? Don't forget your scarf. Yeah. They do, yes, but they don't call it a reenactment, and the way they work it is it's called a. Trying to think of what the phrase they use. It's a tactical demonstration. The two forces never actually oppose each other.
Thank you, Jonathan. We wanted Jonathan and Diane Gilbert, who wasn't able to join us today, to open the door to this celebration. But we really, tonight, are here so that we can focus with those of you that already are working on projects, and also how our Westport 250 committee is anxious and excited about promoting it to the whole community. We know that an event encompasses or surrounds the people working on it, and there's many things that you're going to find out. We put a few together just to demonstrate how we hope to promote. Tom and Lou, would you come up and we'll start talking about that? And then Jeff, would you follow up with some of the ideas we had for promotion? Because what we're anxious to do is to continue this conversation with more and more of the community involved. But thank you so much for giving us all that background. And you don't have to have relatives that were here in the 1600s to participate. Some of us have relatives that just got off the boat, and it still is an exciting story. So let's go on with the technical part of what we can do.
Okay, so I don't think I need it. Do I need a mic?
They want it
The
for
mic
the
only
camera.
picks up from,
To get it
yeah,
into the-
it
All right.
only picks up, unless you want to speak over there.
I'll just
Real close,
I can
real
speak
close.
over there.
Yeah, you don't need the mic then, I can take it.
Okay. take that. Again, I'm Lou Burrell, and I live over on River Road in the harbor. And
Speak into the mic.
I am Lou Burrell, and I live over on River Road in the harbor. I have been meeting with Jane and Irene and Lorna and Jeff and now Tommy, a whole bunch of us for a while, and we've come together we just want to bring people together because all of these stories are so incredible, and that's sort of what we hope people will share. But really, our country is like no other country in the world, and it has been like that for 250 years. And the work that went into it is what sort of Jonathan was talking about. And I believe that these stories need to be shared, need to be told, because I feel like people don't know sort of how we became to be. And we're incredible. And I think we just have taken it for granted in so many ways. So this is really a great opportunity. I mean, as he spoke, we all know that there's well, not we all know, but the Battle of New Bedford was huge, and what happened in Rhode Island was huge, and we really were in between. So there's no way that our Westport ancestors were not deeply part of this. Okay, we are all part of this, and we are here because of them. So Tommy has created this website, and we're in the very early stages, but we want to create a platform where people can share any event or any event that they want to share with the community and the area, and that might pertain to Westport 250. And this is, again, early stages, but we want people to be able to go on here and share what event they're having. We will have a calendar. Tommy's going to walk you through sort of the early stages and then show you what we've done so far. Yeah, go for it.
I'm Tommy Whalen. I'm a 7-year resident of Westport. I've been working in Westport, though, with the schools for a number of years, long-term educator in Swansea, Massachusetts for a while. And I've known Irene for 20 years, so she shanghaied me to participate in this. So
All by secret.
right. So anyway, I'm also a business owner in town, and this is kind of like my thing between media and websites, etc. So we've been working as a group to try to just build a platform to at least basically work with the other organizations that are already in town, that already have their information that they're getting out, to be able to find a central location for this stuff to go out. So the purpose of the website isn't to kind of spearhead and take over all the things that are happening. It's to really basically find a spot where we can bring it all together and be able to, so if like the Historical Society has an event going on, we can post it here so that there's some kind of central location where people can find all the information. So the main functionality of the site that we're gonna, as we build this framework out, is we'll have regular stories that are happening or regular stories that we want to draw attention to that will appear here. So, for example, like Westport's own Paul Revere was one of the stories that was kind of picked out as being something of importance. And
After
so-
Brownell, for those of you who
So,
wonder about Brownell.
when you click to it, so basically, and what we'll do is we'll have links, stories, and all the stuff that's built into the site so that if people just want to passively, view it and look at it, they can do it that way. Or if there's some kind of event that's linked to, they can find that information there as well. So, aside from that, we have one of the more important parts of the website is going to be for the events part of things. So this is going to be a forum where anybody from town or any organization can actually submit their event to us that we can also publicize. All right. So again, not everyone's always aware of what else is going on and what other organizations in town are doing. So we're trying to at least facilitate that and at least provide another forum where people can go and see it. This allows us to, you can basically you can go onto the website, you could list your event here, it would come to us as a form, and we would just add it to the website, all right? And this is gonna be coupled with a calendar, which is gonna be a spot where all the events will be out over the course of 2026, and you'll be able to see what's going on a month-to-month basis in that sense. So again, these are all just framework pieces right now. It's nothing that's really concrete yet, because we're really dependent on all the different organizations and people in town to kind of submit to this so that we can keep it moving.
Adding to that, we're not event planners. We're trying to just raise awareness and
Sure.
then provide this platform.
And we'll also add, I know this was Lou's idea, to add in a shop so that we can actually start to have merch and things that are related to the town celebrating. So there's basically, as the need presents itself, we will build it into the site over the course of time. Really, the next couple months here, as we get into January, it will start to take more shape. But it's really going to be user driven, and so the more suggestions we get, the more feedback we get, we can kind of tailor make it for the different organizations.
And we hope to hear from you tonight, but you can send it to us after tonight. If it doesn't hit you, that this is what you want until you wake up at 2 in the morning, write it down and get it to us.
That's pretty much it. So if you have any suggestions on this stuff, there is, we started a contact page. We're in the process of, again, getting all this up. The website is live, though. It is westportma250.com. So you can go onto it. Again, don't be looking for a lot of new stuff right now, but as we get into next year,
And
there
there
will
are
start to be a lot more things.
5 Westports, so make sure you write westportma250.com, or you might be in
There are
Ireland.
11. There are
Well,
11 in the United
Five
States.
were the ones I was thinking about, but anyway, make sure you stay in Massachusetts.
Sure. I actually live part-time in Westport, Ireland, so it's actually really weird for me. So Westport to Westport. Makes it easy, though, because I can never forget where I'm living.
I was wondering if it's possible to have a way to find out who is involved with these, if you wanted to be interested within the community, there's someone you could contact directly?
Yes, so
Or-
there's 2 ways. If you go to About, that's sort of about how
Sure.
we came together, and then
We'll have
this
our
is under
team that's gonna be-
construction.
oh, let me
But I mean
refresh
for
it.
the people, for the different
For an organization.
Yes.
activities.
So there's 2, there's 2 ways people can either share their event that they're gonna host, or they can contact us. There's a contact button
So
with,
Just through you,
Yes.
you're saying.
yeah.
Is this Westport focused or statewide, or what's your focus?
Westport.
Westport specifically.
It could
WPT.
expand,
Okay.
like the things that Jonathan's talking about that lap over. But right now, what we're trying to do is really open the whole community using modern social media so that you know there's a place. Because so many people, in my experience, kind of look at their own organizations, but they don't really look at others that they don't have much to do with. And our hope is to not only share the information, but to get people thinking about the community as a whole. Civic pride is a big part of what we're anxious to get people excited about. But Betty's question is, on the application form, is there a place for me to look and see how to get back to one of these events or one of the 40 events or whatever's happening? When you fill out your
Well, once you fill it out, we will eventually put it on the calendar and you'll be able to see it, is basically what it is. So, people will have to submit it to us and then we will take it, get the
And
data
then
info.
I think that they're wondering, if you
That
wanted
answer
to
it?
volunteer,
If you-
say somebody's having a square dance,
Yes.
and it's the XYZ committee that's doing it.
Mhm.
If you say, oh, I really wanna volunteer for the XYZ square dance, how do I reach the XYZ
So,
person, so it
so
doesn't come
that's a
through?
great point. So the idea is that we're just facilitating the other organizations that are coming to us.
Yeah.
So we would be able to put there, and like, for example,
Their
let's say it's
contact
the Historical
information.
Society,
And the link.
we would
Yeah.
say who's managing it,
Yeah.
and so that you could reach out to them directly.
Yeah.
Tom, I think if you click on the words there, I think it's a really good example of what
Oh,
you're
perfect,
talking
yeah.
about.
Yep, okay. So this right here is something from the Historical Society that's going on right now, and it talks about, this is taken directly from the website. This was just a sample, again, as this was as it was being put together. So, but when you go and you want to look at the Historical Society, and I think I have this link live.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, I do,
Yeah.
okay. So that's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about, that, like, it's really not to, commandeer all the stuff that people are doing, it's trying to help get it out to people.
But it's an event that Jenny's starting on December 9th, transcribing the original town meeting notes, which might not sound that exciting to people, but knowing how important, Jonathan mentioned how important town meetings are and were, that'll be something that some people can do. And then, might as well tell about Betty and David, the shop. for this show.
So, yeah, this is just posted here. I don't have the more info set up for this yet, but, all these stories that kind of come across our desk, so to speak, will start to get up there, and as soon as people start sharing the events, we'll share them back with you.
If we don't feel comfortable, like the Mayflower Shallop, this is not, the Mayflower Shallop is representative of our story, it's a Paul Cuffey story. So could we suggest that, wouldn't we?
Absolutely,
Okay, so
there's,
yeah.
contact us, there's one link that's contact, one thing is share your, event, so the contact, and you can send us a message and/or copy, you can send in anything.
Okay, we had real challenges because we've been asking for a while to get stuff directly from Mayflower and stuff, and it hasn't arrived.
Kate.
So we know that this is not gonna happen overnight. We're gonna hope that if we get it started in November, and we have time to deal with the technical issues.
Yeah.
We hear from all of you, you can write us a note, you can put it on the email, you can whisper in my ear, whatever works for you. This is what I need, this is how this will be helpful, that's what this is all about. And, we'll keep trying, that's all we can do.
I think too, what Betty, if you, whatever wording you want,
Yeah.
whatever wording, however you want it, on the website, you're the one, in any organization, you're the one that will send it to us, and then it goes right on there, so it'll be
This is sort of like
whatever
a template that
you
we've created.
sent to us.
All right, Kate has her hand, go ahead.
Is there a way to promote this on actual social media platforms? Because, like, I didn't know about this, I was told to be here by someone else who just happened to be watching the town meeting. Like, and 99% of my age group do not pay attention to town meeting until it's a necessary, informational piece that makes a difference for them.
Yeah.
This is something the whole community can easily get behind, but I didn't even know it was happening,
Yeah.
and I've been here all year. So I'm just wondering, is there a way to take this link,
This will get
And-
expanded
and
beyond the website. We
put
have
it
to
on,
start with this.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
like
put it on
Instagram.
And then I have to
Facebook,
stop talking and have people that are a little younger, go ahead, you guys.
but put it on all the, like, the town pages on Facebook and on Instagram, and share it with all the different local businesses in town.
Yes.
And local agencies, things like that, just to spread the word, so that people can add to it, and you grow in awareness.
Yeah, the business, that's a whole other conversation that I would love to, like, just get the businesses signed, so we
Yeah,
haven't even
absolutely.
sort of tapped into that.
Okay. All right.
So are you guys gonna be managing the site?
The website, yes, and we're
And
gonna need a
social-
website master, or webmaster.
Yeah, my part in this is really to get it started, and in terms of social media, like, that's basically what I do for a living too, but, again, the manpower behind it is a huge ask, so we are gonna need help, it's gonna be something that, it'd be something that, I think, be perfectly set for something to do with the schools as well, potentially, because you have young people that understand how it works, and, maybe there's like internship kind of stuff. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities there. It's just that there is a ton of, even just getting the site up takes time, so.
That's why we wanted to get started now, so that you can hear, you can share it, you get back. 2026 isn't that far away. There's a little bit of busyness in most of our worlds between Thanksgiving and the holidays and so on. But if you can feed information, we'll keep working on the tasks that we put ahead.
And we need more people.
Yeah.
Now that we've sort of jump-started this, we definitely need more people with more talents than I have, and some of us. But just to, if you know someone who's, great at social media, who might be interested in helping with this. So it's definitely, this is gonna be a word of mouth thing as well. So, yeah, David.
Jonathan,
Oh, Jonathan, sorry.
Do you know what Westport was called by the British?
No.
Jenny?
The Devil's Pocket.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Because ships could come in here, escaping them, and they couldn't follow them in.
Right. 'Cause
And so they sat out offshore and lobbed cannonballs in. But I think the Devil's Pocket emphasizes the estuary, its protected cover, and it links in very well to the whole shallop story that we're gonna bring a Mayflower shallop here and have a greeting and celebration and all the rest in the Devil's Pocket. And the last thing, Clark's Cove was the Devil's Hellhole. And I think we got a much easier story to tell, and much more positive one.
We have a
So
representative
anyway,
from the
I just-
schools.
I think that could be emphasized as a subtitle for Westport is the Devil's Pocket.
He speaks my mind.
There's so many things we can do. I mean, I picture, murals and timelines, and I used to teach history at a high school many, many years ago, but there's just so many directions we can go with this that I feel like will energize Westport.
I think we have a representative from the schools here tonight. I'm going on.
Two.
Yeah,
Holly.
thank you. I know you have a busy night over there. We don't put you on the spot, but this is such an open window, open door to possibilities for education. And another subtitle of what we're trying to accomplish is to bring different groups in town together in very purposeful ways. So how do we talk to all of the different communities that use different ways to hear about each other? I hope we will try to come back together in January when we've heard. We need to hear from you tonight. Jeff's going to talk about some of the other ideas we have before we.
Sure. So we're very grateful for the interest we've had from the Westport Community Schools, Holly Hargraves, the new director of curriculum, and the Macomber principal, Stacy Duquette. And as Irene said earlier, I was very involved with the schools when my children were growing up here, and PTO president for 3 terms. So I do know a lot of people, and I really want to get engaged with them again, because I think it's very important that we're going to learn about Westport 250. And somebody commented, well, we're not 250. Well, this land was here 250 years ago plus. So we are going to learn about what part we were of Little Compton and Old Dartmouth. So it's more about what was Westport and how we've come from the 1600s to today. And the important thing is that we want to learn about each different community, each different organization, each neighborhood, and bring people together so we can learn about one another and be a community. And so moving forward, one of the big things what we want to do, and Tommy and Lou demonstrated through the website, is for people to be able to see what's going on, to make those collaborations, to make those connections, to share, to be able to volunteer at an event. And that's what we're going to do. We can help you promote them. We can help you with making partners. We're looking for many different things. And, Jenny has an amazing thoughts and projects for 2026. And so we're very grateful for Jenny and the Historical Society, and that we can work together. A lot of the information that we're going to share on the website will be information that the Historical Society has gathered. And David and Betty have done so much research. And as we learned about Abner Brownell, Jane discovered that. And so, you know, we hope that we are able to highlight that and show more about what is going on and what happened in Westport 250 years ago versus the United States. So it's important what we've done, how we've come and where we are today. And who are the people that brought us here? The farmers, the shipbuilders, English.
Posters and marketing, just a little tiny bit.
Sure. Okay, yes. So as you can see around the room, we have different things. We're looking to create banners to put around town, and not just down Main Road. We want to be present in all the different neighborhoods. So we're looking at doing some long banner that is just going to remind everybody this is what's going on. Our website is on it. Our email is on it. And as we said, we do need to get across social media at a much greater speed. But again, we do need assistance to get that done. We're looking out to reach to organizations, and if you want us to come and visit your meeting, your monthly meeting or whatever it is, we're happy to do that and to talk about what's going on. So I want to reach out to the different PTOs at the schools, the Grange, whoever wants to hear from us and how we can work together. It's important. We are also looking at some of the established events that happen annually in the first place, and then just to further engage people in them and try to promote people to get involved, get organizations involved. And, you know, of course, the Westport Parade on July 4th is, you know, always a big turnout, but we'd like to see if we can engage groups to build floats and do more of an educational opportunity. We talked about timelines, but you know, the other thing we want to make sure that it does happen and happen multiple times across the town is that we read the Declaration of Independence. And so, you know, perhaps we can do that in the parade. One idea, I'll let you know later what I thought. Anyway, so, you know, we can help you with promotional materials. Of course, we're going to put you on the website. We have the calendar because we know it's challenging around town to know what other organizations are doing. So we want to make sure that people either are working together so they're not stepping on one another's toes, or as Jonathan said, it doesn't always have to be the right date in the right place. And, you know, so we can work with that. So are there questions or, you know, thoughts and ideas that you want to share with us? And I can put them on here so we can incorporate them into our notes. And then if need be, reach back out. Some folks in the room have expressed interest in joining the committee. And of course, you know, we will look forward to that. There are people that aren't here this evening that want to get involved. The Veterans Office in the Town Hall, or Town Hall Annex. And I think that's very important that we are able to recognize the veterans. I know it will happen in a week or so in the middle high school, but that's only those folks, only the students and teachers get to see that. So, Lou, do you want to?
Well, I was
Right.
wondering, what's the fastest, I don't want to keep people too long, but,
The library does close at some point.
okay.
At
But
8 o'clock.
I can get up there and you guys can just throw out ideas, because I think all of us crowding on those pieces of paper might take too long.
Or you can take a marker and write something. What we do want is make sure that if you have an idea or a suggestion or an improvement, we will certainly.
I'm gonna
look at
start.
Social media, you know.
Need
Let's record it so we
social
don't forget about it.
media person.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
I'm just getting going. Who else?
All right.
Any theme? All right.
Westport have a positioning thing?
That is a great, what did we have on the website? There was some theme about something the past and something in the future.
Celebrating the past,
yes.
inspiring the future.
Yes.
And Devil's Pocket.
Oh, yeah. Let's just write, yeah, just anything. Devil's Pocketbook, right?
Pocket.
Okay.
I have a deeper problem with it, is that this, we're talking about reading the town meeting. It is not Westport. It's Old Dartmouth.
It's Old Dartmouth.
It's,
And we have to think about us as part of Old Dartmouth.
we know
And
that.
of course, that's where we're coming from, all copy on both sides.
Yeah.
So the town meeting records, you can't tell, it's Westport.
No, we know that.
So we've been, and you have too, we've been working with people from Dartmouth
Yeah.
to do these things. So if you have an issue like that, you should work with Dartmouth.
Yeah.
This becomes Dartmouth, it becomes
Old Dartmouth.
Yeah. I find that as a problem with a lot of things that we're trying to do. Not a problem, but an interesting situation.
But just one aspect of that is Paul Cuffey, there was no Westport during the war. Paul Cuffey didn't live here. He lived over in Dartmouth, and he probably operated out of Russell's Mills on his travels to Nantucket. So I keep wanting to get Dartmouth and Russell's Mills to take more ownership of Paul Cuffey. We'll be happy to share it with them. So far, they've been too busy with other things. But anyway, they operated out of Old Dartmouth, and then the most direct channel was right down to Russell's Mills in the Slocum River before the Westport River ever got into, or the Colford River or whatever it was.
Yeah.
The Westport part for the 250th is for the people that are living here now. There's 16,000 people that we hope feel touched in some way with this national statewide celebration. But the history of the town goes wherever it goes, and that's, that's kind of found your own
Yeah.
history.
For the event, the Westport River Gardeners would like to think about something. So we're also in the beginning stages with, floated the idea of possibly being in the parade in some fashion. But anyhow, yes, stay tuned.
All right, that's great.
Jill?
I guess I have a sort of a,
And pardon me, but our members go beyond Westport, which is even better.
perfect. I have sort of a functional question. One, there's a lot of organizations that are already organizations that may be 501c3s, may not be there, and may want to raise money specifically for what they want to do here. And one, if there are organizations like that, can they raise money through Mass 250? Could they have money funneled through you and earmarked for a Westport thing?
So let me just say, in theory, yes.
Okay.
I just want to clarify, MA 250, Massachusetts 250, is different from Revolution 250. So MA 250 only came about in the last 2 years.
But is MA 250 a
No, they're a state government office.
Ah, okay,
Revolution
okay, okay.
We're not
250
going to use those for fundraising.
Got it.
Revolution 250 is a 501c3.
Got it, okay.
And really, any of your community, I mean, the reason we started out under the financial sponsorship of the Massachusetts Historical Society,
Got it.
but our fundraising goals couldn't align. And that's why we became a 501c3, because they had a different dream for the 250th than Revolution 250's partners. And so that's when we became a 501c3. So, but if you don't have that conflict, you can operate under the fiscal sponsorship of somebody in town who does have a 501c3.
And our working group, and that's what we're calling ourselves, can meet on a regular basis with those kinds of topics. We've been meeting mostly about how can we promote and create this crossover, but we could have a meeting for groups in town that are looking for a way to raise money. Not everybody needs to make it a major effort, but because they've got memberships that can help. But I think that conversation is one that we should include up there, because it always comes up, how are we gonna pay for this?
Exactly, that's the,
So I think we can follow up
if you want a
on
big
that in
tent to
January.
read the math,
Can I just say one thing about social media?
Yes.
So, So the best success that me or any of my partners have had with social media involves short clip videos.
Yes.
And these are something everybody who's got a smartphone can do. There's no reason why, regardless of age or acuity with the product, there's no reason why anybody can't record a 30-second story. And it would be so powerful, I think, for all the different members of the community, all different ages, high school kids. We did a thing with Bunker Hill where we had the kids research Gloucester men who were at Bunker Hill, and they'd go out and record short videos. We had teachers get involved, local town selectmen, and I mean, everybody can do this, and if you can record a short 30-second video, you're gonna get more attention than you will any sort of blog post. Yeah, TikTok or Facebook Reels or Instagram Reels, whatever.
And I think recently, the students from Westport Community Schools have been having these short videos, and of course it was interviewing the veterans
Yeah.
and sharing that information. And, and that's why we're very excited to get involved with the schools. Because we want to educate on every level, and we want the students to learn and teach out as well to their families and grandparents and cousins and things of that nature. So we really are looking to, get everyone involved.
And looking beyond the history, right? I mean, like you were talking about the river gardeners and things like, I mean, all of those things, all of the things that make Westport special are of interest to people out there.
That was one of our challenges, to create a sample website. We had so many stories. Well, we had lots of stories, but tonight was just to give you a taste. But there's lots of other things to taste over here.
Well
But anyway, so I want to make sure that if you have a suggestion or concern or whatever, you can get up there, whether you give it to Lou to write or you write it yourself.
Scribble
We will
yourself.
meet again in a couple of months with a lot more, hopefully, planned out. But we wanted to get a reaction and a response from the community. And if any of you want to spend more time talking to any of us with your ideas, please do so. But it's 7:15, and I know the library closes at 8. So is there more we can write on the wall? Do you want to get up
Don?
and move around?
Don, you had a, and,
Okay.
All right, Don.
Could I suggest, because I think there are already some defined events that people have made commitments to, for example, the Shala, and I think I heard Jenny saying that she's got something going on.
Cemetery tour.
It may be helpful, I think, to post that and at least put it out here. These are defined events, and I think that would help other organizations to say, oh, I'd like to support that. For example, and we're gonna be talking with David, I'm involved with Buzzards Bay Coalition, and we have the lifeboat, and, I wanna talk to you about that as far as the lifeboat and the participation with
Yes.
Shala.
We have a lot of yes.
Yeah, so,
The
you know what I'm
whole
saying, so,
flotilla.
but when you get, you can put the defined events up first, and then you can, people will say, oh, you know what, I think I could help with that, or I bet this idea.
and
So I think that's a very key part of
That,
moving
and
this
that's more
forward.
about connecting the opportunities.
Yeah, exactly.
And making sure the calendar does that.
Two events, cemetery tour, where Revolutionary War veterans are known, and it includes the small, we only have about 8 of them that we've been able to discover, but that's one. The other is Westport Point grew up because of the Revolution. So we've done a lot of work on that, but we want even more, is how did the Revolution affect Westport Point? And how did Westport Point deal with the Revolution? So that's 2 that we're also going to be doing.
do you have a date for the tour?
Pardon me?
Do you have a date for the cemetery tour?
No,
No,
but we have to talk about it.
no. But the shallop is
The shallop is the
August 14th?
15th, well, the shallop's coming in on the night of the 14th, 15th. It'll be the 15th and the 16th here, leave the evening of the 16th. So Saturday and Sunday, the 15th and 16th. And with it is 2 other ships, we're having
So over the next,
yeah,
Wait,
we'll
wait,
talk about that
we
later.
need to gather all of this in
Yeah.
written form. That was one of the things about creating a model.
Yeah.
We didn't want to overload you with details because we had a lot more.
Yeah,
we
there's
could-
much more to do. What were you gonna say, John?
Don't forget that Paul Cuffey's mother and wife were Wampanoag.
Yes.
How did the Revolutionary War affect the local law?
Yeah,
Yes, and we've met with Chief Robert
Yeah.
Running and we've talked to him, and I know, there's an artist that's working on a bronze sculpture of him and
right.
Wiener.
Mary's
Oh,
here.
you're Mary. Oh, I've only seen your name written down.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's
It's
Actually,
beautiful.
an exhibit in New Bedford until the end of the month.
Till the 23rd.
So
Okay.
that was a problem of posting it, but
That's
I
very
think the Wainerwood story is certainly this time.
That's also gonna be part of the shallop. With that day, we'll have the Wayner Woods story. We'll also have a story, a woman's written a film on Paul Cuffey going, running the blockade. She's going to present her film, so that'll be,
Actually, I'm gonna, photograph her. She's doing, a small, preview film
yeah,
in New York in a few weeks.
yeah,
So I'm gonna photograph that,
yeah.
and.
Anita Allison.
It's gonna be a music video, and they're working with a musician, but it's gonna
Yeah.
have the story of Cuffy. So I don't know exactly, like she's sort of mixing some contemporary ideas with the
Yeah,
historical ones.
we've been working with her for 2 years.
Yeah.
And to get all of this information out early enough that people can plan, because, you're starting with holiday events and so on, and all of a sudden you say, I didn't know about that. If we can share information in a timely way and have the community begin to feel the energy that just a few of these events promote. If you do have a chance, get over to the Bedford Art Museum to see the work that's been started with.
Yeah, there's a maquette, basically I had Chief Rob 3D scanned, so, it's kind of exactly like a three-dimensional Xerox, instead of interpreting him through clay or anything like that. It was, because really I wanted the decision about how he looked to be his decision and not interpreted through me, which is why I had him 3D scan. But at this point, we have a 3D maquette. It's a 14-inch maquette. So, and the surface simulates bronze. It's not bronze, but ultimately, we want to have a slightly larger than life bronze over at Wayner Woods. And I called it Eastern Native Woodland Indian, as imagined by Chief Tu Running Elk. So I know it's a long title, but it describes what it is.
Just the brief conversations that we're having of those groups, like the Shallop, what you're doing, and what other organizations have on the calendar, begin to realize we're gonna have a lot. And that doesn't talk about the new possibilities that might happen in all of the other organizations in town. So help us gather this information. That's our concern, that we don't want to lose it.
And we're gonna have Tommy put, not only on the website is the contact information, but once he finishes the team, our email addresses will also be on that, so you can contact.
And I just had one other thing. I'm a very visual person, and I've been talking to people about, even today, I said, oh, we have a meeting for the 250th, and the person kind of looked at me like, 250th what? And I really think people in town, the majority, still are not thinking of that. But I think once we get these posters and banners, and we're looking at, starting in January, once we get that around, and you drive down the streets in the north end and all the way down to the harbor, and you see these signs, it's going to make people, oh, that's right. And then they'll go on that website, they'll see, the address, the web address. And once you get it out on social media, as you mentioned, once we get it out on the town websites there, the social media, on Facebook, it's gonna go like wildfire. But I really think visually seeing this down the street as you drive is going to bring much more awareness to the people in the town, because I still think we're not thinking of that yet. So.
Last two things, I think. I want to quickly introduce Lorna Miles, who just snuck in. She's part of our team and is a superstar. And she is having, she couldn't be here earlier, so we're happy she's here.
Thank you.
And then the other thing is I can put some markers out. If anyone just wants to jot down ideas, thoughts, words, places, names, I don't care what it is, but we'll take all these back and we'll start to organize and can now start the next, chapter of this program, so.
We want to give you time to be able to talk to each other. If anybody knows somebody here that they want to ask questions about, we want to make sure that you at least take one cupcake.
And a scarf.
In Scott-
Anything that we haven't asked or haven't put out, because this is just the beginning, folks. We'll be back, we promise you.
And I do have plates and tinfoil if you want to, if you have to go home. There's to go. You can take it with you, please. I don't want to bring any of that home.
Thank you all for
Thank you
joining
guys so
us.
much.
Thank you, Jonathan, for sharing so much wonderful information.
Someone wanted to